Hey, you crazy cats, welcome to Leaving Crazy Town, where we navigate the roller coaster of relationships, mental health, and personal transformation with humor as our trusty seatbelt.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and with my buddy Finn, we're here to share our real stories, expert insights, practical tips to help you break free from codependency, reclaim your life, and find freedom.
So whether you're wrestling with boundary issues, craving connections that won't ghost you, or just here for a front row seat to the wild ride of self-discovery, you've come to the right place.
So buckle up, we're leaving Crazy Town.
Hey, welcome to Leaving Crazy Town with Finn and Sarah. Sarah likes to prep, and we're going to do an episode on sexual shame. And she was trying to figure out what we were going to talk about. I said, let's just wing it and see what happens. Tell me about your shame.
Oh my God. All right, so we're going to do an episode on sexual shame because
People have it.
people have it. And I think we've done another episode on sex stuff, a couple episodes on sex stuff. But why I'm thinking about this is I hear a lot of people talking about fourth steps. And when I did my fourth step, oh God, here I go.
Crying.
Live the feelings.
She's having a lot of feelings today, people.
The sexual part of the fourth step was definitely the most painful. And I think because when you're acting out sexually for a variety of reasons, and some episode, there's a difference between sexual codependency and sexual addiction, which are two things that definitely happen
You know I'm in puberty, right?
when you're in.
So you're talking about
You don't
feelings,
have-
and
yeah.
I am
I know all he's thinking about is boobs, but that's a whole other story. The
I left the
testosterone,
building.
he left the building. All right.
Sorry.
So the fourth step and how it can bring up a lot of feelings. And I guess when I'm thinking about sex and codependency is, and this is what we talked about in the last sex episode, was not being able to say when you don't want to have sex and having sex when you don't feel like it, not
and
being
taking
able
it
to
personal
speak
when someone says they don't want to, and
Yes.
then blaming them and making them feel bad.
up, all that stuff. All that stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the thing we were going to think about is it's really about forgiving yourself. And we don't talk a lot about forgiveness, but I think forgiving ourselves and remembering, right? When I think about that 20-year-old who was sleeping with people for cocaine or driving into the combat zone to follow my boyfriend and sitting there for 2 hours watching strippers because he wanted to be there. I mean, I'm just slobbing stuff out. Or, doing behaviors out of the fear of abandonment or fear of not being loved. Like, let's face it, thinking I needed to give a blowjob to someone when I really didn't. We're really getting down and dirty today. But it's like, I think about some of that stuff and I think I just try to have compassion for that 20-year-old that really felt like she didn't have a choice. And that's really what we're talking about today is the sexual shame stuff. The other level of the sexual shame is the secrets. And oh my God, I have a worst in my head, which I think I could be in prison. Let's just put it that way because of this, but that's another story. But so the secrets really contribute to the sexual shame. So that's why it's so important to do a fifth step. We're actually talking about the fifth step tonight, to tell somebody all that stuff. So you're not thinking you're the only one. So sharing your sexual history, things you feel bad about. I know for men, a lot of times, my male clients, it's things they've done where they've maybe overpowered someone or wasn't listening to someone saying no or whatever it was. Everybody's got their stuff, men and women. And this is the forgiveness episode. That's what I'm just calling it now. It's really, all right, and I'm going to get to you. It's really about being gentle with yourself, and we'll talk. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I was just sharing at a meeting the other day that, listening to fifth steps or sharing mine, there's those things that I thought were
Yes.
or whatever, or someone else thinks it's never fazed me. It's not like anything's been outside the box compared to all the
Of
other
course, right. I mean, well, that's the brilliant thing about having a sponsor who you can relate to. And hopefully your sponsor, because I know I've heard stories where this doesn't happen, hopefully your sponsor will just be validating and loving and not look like they're shocked you said something.
No, I try to share similar experiences when somebody shares it with me in the fifth step.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I just realized too, we're just talking about one category, which is stuff that you've done when you were using. But then there's the other categories, which are to me even worse, which are stuff I did in sobriety. Okay, that's a whole other situation because my fear of not feeling loved and not feeling wanted was still running me after I got sober.
Well, like, isn't
for
that the
quite
whole
a
thing with
while.
codependency? Just because you're
Yes.
putting booze down doesn't mean you learn to say no.
Yes. Yes. So that I didn't feel like I had a choice for quite a while until I did some other work. The other arena of sexual shame is what? Is abuse. Even before we pick up booze, stuff happens to many of us in the program.
Why
so
you keep pointing at me?
I'm just saying all of us, whether it's a rape or incest or whatever, all of us. So that stuff can be a source of shame that you've never told anyone. So, and I just want to say,
Sorry.
let me just say this and then we'll continue. Is if watching this episode is triggering, because that could be happening, right? Even if just watching this episode is triggering, definitely reach out and get some help from someone because it can be hearing this stuff. We're really just about today being spacious around this stuff, having some compassion for yourself, and really seeing that everything you did was to survive.
Yeah, I was going to add the thing about, this could be really triggering. And, this kind of stuff in my, years ago would have been really triggering for me.
Yes.
It's not today. But the other piece I wanted to mention is Sarah and I have talked about doing a fifth step. We talked about sharing the information and not keeping secrets.
Yes.
It's really important to discern a
Yes.
scenario in which you're safe to share the secret.
Yes.
So we're not saying run around and tell people stuff. And, Sarah's sharing things on here that I'm sure for years you would never have put on a video. But, you get to a place where you're more comfortable with things and you see the value in your history and how it can help others. And it gets easier to share because you're not in that space of feeling super vulnerable or the shame.
Right.
So if you're experiencing shame and feelings, we're not saying run out and tell someone or tell everybody to relieve yourself of it. That has to be a decision that's discerning and it has to be with someone you feel safe with.
Yes. I think we're just trying to say that we've been there. And when I've heard Finn's history, it's like, if you have anything, sex in that category, if you heard my history, you know why I picked my sponsor? Because she told me her sex list was longer than her resentment list. So, the reason why we're talking about it is to know that you're not alone. And if you're still carrying shame from stuff that's happened or stuff that you've done, know that you're not alone and you can get help and you can talk to someone. And like Finn says, make sure you talk to someone safe. Around here, we have these meetings called Big Book Step Study meetings where we do the steps in a certain way and really do a deep dive in the sexual inventory. But, if you need to get into therapy, if you need to do some ACOA meetings, if you need to whatever, do some CODA meetings. Whatever is going to make you feel better.
Why am I yawning? Sorry.
This topic.
This is our post-lunch video.
This is our post-lunch
topic
video.
is not boring
We're
to me.
trying to stay awake, but I just really feel for people when people are talking about this stuff because I've been there, and we're trying to just say we're all in this together. We've all been to Crazy Town. And we're supporting you in leaving Crazy Town. And part of leaving Crazy Town is loosening up that shame. And part of loosening that up is talking to someone about it.
Absolutely.
All right. That's
absolutely.
it.
Yeah. I actually was thinking about, I was sexually abused when I was a kid, by many people in prolonged situations. And I'll never forget, I shared my fifth step. I had gone through, talked about my sexual abuse and everything. And then several months later, and trust me, it was not easy. When I was reading my fifth step, I stared at some things in my fourth step for like 45 minutes before I could get the words out of my mouth.
Yes.
But after I went through that, I was painting my house one day and there was a woman over in recovery, early sobriety, helping me paint. And she was talking about stuff. And I think she was talking about when she was talking about it, she was being very cryptic. And I realized it was sexual abuse she was talking about, but she wasn't saying anything. So I shared my story and she was like, wow, I hope someday I can talk about it the way you just did without even acting like it bothered you. And trust me on this, I was as shocked at the way I was talking about it as she was, because it was the first time it was literally like, would you like a cup of tea? And that's how neutral I was talking about it. And it's because I shared it with somebody safe and it neutralized the feelings around it.
That's right. And this is the last thing I'm going to say is we know some of you have suffered horrendous stuff growing up, and we all have, and it's all on a continuum. But the thing is, my stuff is mine. So it's the worst to me because I experienced it. And so
Piece of cake over there.
we all experience pain. But the thing is, this channel is about freedom. And we don't want to keep being prisoners of our past. This is about finding freedom in the future. So that's why we want you to leave Crazy Town for us. Fasten your seatbelt.
We're out of here.
We're out. Thanks for listening to Leaving Crazy Town. We hope today's episode offered you valuable insights and tools to help navigate your relationship.
If you found our discussion helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. And share it with a friend. Misery loves company, right?
Stay connected with us on social media and visit our website for additional resources and updates on future episodes.
Until next time, remember that breaking free from codependency is a journey, and we're here to help you every step of the way. And hey, if all else fails, at least you'll have a few laughs.
So buckle up. We're leaving Crazy Town.